interview.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're recording.
Oh.
We're live. All right,
Yes.
This is Mr. Muted and Drippy Blue interview 3.
Yeah. I'm going to be interviewing Mr. Stump.
And I'm going to be interviewed by the Grump. So, I'm ready when you're ready.
All right. So, I'd like to talk to you today about your history with fast food.
Oh, yeah. Could you explain a little more what that entails, please?
Well, as you know, especially in the life of a college student in the city,
Yeah, of course.
fast
Which I
food
am now.
has taken a vital role in the dietary practices of many students, which, many people view as a bad thing. So I was just hoping to get a little bit of a perspective, a little bit of an example with you as a case study, and just interview a little bit about your experience with fast food.
Well, ever since I was a child, I've been consuming fast food on an occasional basis. I've never been the biggest fan of fast food, with an exception of Taco Bell, because Taco Bell is something different. But I have found myself eating fast food as a youth in general. And I've definitely noticed that more so in my college experience. I have resulted to not just fast food, but also just processed food in general. Now, I would say fast food isn't necessarily an inherently evil thing, except for McDonald's, but we'll get into that later. But I would argue that I would say that it's not the greatest thing in the world, but as a broke college student myself, I have to admit that the convenience is quite nice.
Okay. How much would you say you engage with fast food on a weekly basis?
Well, I've never personally been engaged to anyone fast. They've all been slow. But I would say I actually don't eat that much fast food on a weekly basis. I have two friends who happen to be dating each other who come to my dorm a lot, and then we get fast food almost every single time, and that's probably the most I consume fast food. I don't know if you're familiar with my friends, but maybe you'll meet them one day.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, but I try not to partake in fast food, but the main reason I don't partake that often is more so because I have no money. And it's a struggle to be able to afford fast food, as it's not exactly cheap anymore.
Have you noticed any adverse effects on your health that you may be able to relate back to overconsumption of fast food?
Not my health, but I've noticed that people who consume fast food more so than I do, have definitely experienced effects. Like there's I don't know if you're familiar. I have a friend. His name is Jonah. And Jonah eats a lot of processed and fast food. More so the processed food. And I love him to death. I don't think his lifestyle is the most healthy. And I don't know if that's related to the fast food, but it could be. And I've definitely noticed that it has effects on him. And, most people I know who consume only processed food or only fast food are not the healthiest of people. Like, I have a roommate who eats nothing but fast food, with the exception of occasionally going to the dining hall. And I'd say his lifestyle is probably not the most healthy either. So I'd assume that it does have some foul effects on the health.
Now, would you say you get your majority of food from the dining hall?
I would probably say I get most of my food from the dining hall, yes.
And how do you think that compares to fast food compared to, say, home cooked meals?
Well, I would say that neither of them compare to home cooked meals. I'd say the dining hall food is pretty reminiscent of that of like a summer camp and or a prison. But it could be worse. And I will admit fast food usually does taste better with the exception of Arby's. But the dining hall food is it does have more healthy options, which I try to stray towards with an exception of pasta night because I do love pasta. And so I feel like with the dining hall it gives me options to eat healthier food. What is that? What are you eating right now? 'Cause it's really funny if you're gonna say something like sugar raisin loaf.
It's it's applesauce cake actually.
Wait, can I have some?
Yes. Very good. You ever been to prison?
Well, not since '02, but if I had to guess, I would say prison affects my health much worse than fast food does, arguably. Um, I haven't been to prison in the last 18 years.
I was wondering because you mentioned your experience with prison food.
Oh yeah, no, that's just that was an educated guess and or assumption. Yeah, I know a lot of people who have been to prison, at least one or two.
Okay.
One or two.
Well, that's lovely. So going forward in your life, um, say once you have a more stable income, what would you project that your intake of fast food would be?
Um, Honestly, I think once I get a more stable income, I'm probably gonna my consumption of fast food will probably stay relatively similar to what it is now. I'm not the biggest processed food guy. I just eat what I have available, but I'd much prefer to eat healthier than I would to eat unhealthy. I also really enjoy cooking, so I'd enjoy when I'm in a stable place. I imagine I'll have a place in which I can cook. Um, but whenever Johnny calls me up and says, "Hey, do you want to get Panda Express?" I'm not gonna say no. Or whenever my two unnamed friends show up to my dorm and are like, "Hey, Stewie, um, I was wondering if you wanted to go to Popeyes uh, to get a Popeyes chicken sandwich." If my unnamed friend shows up and says that, I'm not exactly gonna refuse that offer either, because usually his girlfriend pays for my chicken sandwiches. So
Okay. Well,
I don't know what that was.
here's the burning question that I'm sure everybody's wondering. Do you consider pizza fast food?
Well, depends. Where's the pizza from?
Pizza place.
Any pizza place?
The pizza parlor.
The pizza parlor. Oh, the pizza parlor is not fast food. I'd actually argue that most pizza is not fast food. Actually, I'd argue that all pizza is not fast food.
Well,
Because fast food implies, well, I always was under the assumption that for something to be fast food, it would have to have a drive-through involved. Because that's streamlined, oh, what? Streamlined, quick, easy process. That it's a fast process. Now, with most pizza places, I'm even gonna say like the closest to fast food of a pizza place being Little Caesars. I'm gonna say that that's not fast food either, though it is quick, hot, and ready. It is not. It's not always fast. You still have to go into the establishment. You still have to, and also most fast food places have a uh like their dine in, and most pizza places or like they most fast food places have like it's they're meant to be in and out is the name of a fast food place, but you're meant to just go in and out, right? But when you go to a pizza place, especially a dine-in pizza place, you have to you can't just go in and then like sit down and eat a pizza quickly. Like you can't just eat a whole entire pizza by yourself quickly. It's like it's more of a catering business, I'd argue, than a fast food business. You know, whereas like fast food businesses can cater, but catering businesses can't fast food. You know what I'm saying? So I'd argue that pizza is not fast food and more of a catering business, unless with one sole exception, one of those little hole in the wall places that sell like burgers and pizza, and they sell individual slices, and that's like, you know what I'm talking about? Like the individual slices of pizza that are sold from like little vendor carts. I'd argue those are fast food, but I mean, I'd say if you buy a whole pizza from a pizza place, it's not fast food.
All right.
I'd argue it's relatively slow food, actually.
Well,
Now, wait, I have a question for you before we
Yeah.
leave. Do you think that fast food is directly relative to how fast it would move if it was a living organism?
Oh,
Because I'm like, hear me out. I feel like burgers would like roll, right? Like really fast. Like I feel like they'd move quickly.
okay.
But like when I picture a pizza moving, I guess you could argue that a pizza would roll on its side, but that's just impractical because that would mean it would have to balance. I imagine it would like kind of whirl like this. So I think that might be part of it. And like Taco Bell, those burritos are so aerodynamic. It would move like a little bug, you know.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Would you argue that that might be the reason in which it's called fast food rather than and why it's measured via speed?
No,
You wouldn't argue that at all.
not really. I mean, you go to
I do.
a gourmet restaurant and get a burger. Still, technically, it's the same deal. But that doesn't mean it'd be fast. Also, another thing about things that aren't fast, typically, like spaghetti. That's probably the fastest moving food ever, individually,
No,
or not.
I see it. I see it. I would argue that.
Okay, what do you think is faster than spaghetti?
Yeah. Okay, wait. You're gonna have to hear me out on this one. I'm picturing like a baguette. It's because like one big spaghetti.
Okay.
You know, like imagine a baguette going. You know, I bet that looks great with the camera quality. Or a rocket pop, or any popsicle, really.
No.
Yeah, I imagine spaghetti would move similar to that of an octopus, and that's quite impressive.
Yes, or squid.
Or squid. Yeah. Would spaghetti be an aquatic creature?
Yes.
Shoot. Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
I suppose that's about it.
Yeah, I don't
Thank you
have
for
it.
your
I don't
time
have it.
today.
Yeah,
Do you have any questions for me?
Um,
No.
no. Yes. No.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Of course. Now, when's the album dropping?
Oh,
Follow me on Patreon at
follow me on
Bandcamp at Mr. Muted Fortnite
MrMutedFortnite.com.
.com. Okay.
Bye bye now.
Bye bye now.